Awakening the Behemoth. The Varaxian Empire had conquered 17 star systems before they even noticed Earth. When their long-range scout ships finally detected our little blue planet, their initial scans dismissed us as barely worth their attention. Just another primitive world with a level 2 civilization, capable of reaching their own moon, but nothing more. Another dirt planet with delusions of grandeur. Fleet Commander Zex Terrell sneered, his 4 eyes narrowing as he studied the holographic projection of Earth. His exoskeleton gleamed under the command deck's lights, carapace polished to a shine that reflected his rank. They've barely mastered nuclear fission. Pathetic. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Frill, flicked her antenna in agreement. They're not even unified. Multiple nation-states, still fighting over resources. The conquest will be brief. The Varaxian hegemony operated on simple principles: find developing worlds, subjugate their populations, extract their resources, and move on. Earth was merely the next in line. As the Varaxian battle fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of our solar system, humanity remained blissfully unaware. Only a select few at the highest levels of government and military knew what was coming. In an underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Director Catherine Chen stared at the satellite data with growing dread. The alien ships were massive, city-sized vessels moving with impossible precision toward Earth. "How long do we have?" she asked, her voice steady despite the cold fear gripping her chest. General Marcus Wells, a decorated veteran with steel-gray hair and eyes that had seen too much conflict, checked the calculations. 3 days, maybe 4 before they reach Earth orbit. Catherine nodded, her decision already made. "Then we activate Project Lazarus." The general's expression darkened. "Director, we don't know if it will work. The technology is our only hope," she finished for him. "Gather the team. We're going to Antarctica." 48 hours later, Catherine stood in the most classified location on Earth, a massive excavation site buried 2 miles beneath the Antarctic ice. Before her loomed the reason for her career. For the last 30 years of secret global cooperation between nations that publicly remained enemies. A ship, ancient beyond comprehension. Discovered in 1938 by a German expedition, but kept hidden through successive world conflicts, inherited by shadowy agencies, and finally, in 2021, entrusted to the Global Defense Initiative that Catherine now led. The vessel was colossal, nearly a mile long, with a hull made of materials that defied analysis. Its sleek, almost organic design suggested both beauty and terrible purpose. For decades, the world's brightest minds had studied it, slowly deciphering its systems, learning fragments of its technology, but never once managing to activate its power core. Dr. Aiden Sharif, the lead scientist for Project Lazarus, approached Catherine with barely contained excitement. Despite the impending alien invasion, his eyes sparkled with the thrill of scientific discovery. "Director, you need to see this," he said, guiding her toward a newly uncovered section of the vessel. "When we received word of the approaching fleet, something changed in the ship. It's like it woke up." Catherine followed him through corridors that had been dark for millennia, but now hummed with a subtle energy. Panels that had been inert for decades now displayed flowing symbols in a language no human could read. "It recognized a threat," Aiden explained. "We've theorized that the ship might have defensive protocols, but we never had a genuine threat to trigger them. Until now." They reached what they had identified as the command center, a vast chamber dominated by a chair-like structure surrounded by holographic interfaces. As Catherine approached, the air around her seemed to thicken with anticipation. "We need to power it up completely," she said. "Can we do that?" Aiden's expression was a mix of fear and exhilaration. "Theoretically, yes. But there's something else you should know. The ship appears to require synchronization with a pilot, a neural link." Catherine studied the chair. "Has anyone tried?" "Not yet. The risks irrelevant compared to extinction," she cut him off. Prepare the ship for launch. I'll be the pilot." While the Lazarus team worked frantically to prepare the ancient vessel, the Varaxian fleet entered the inner solar system. Their approach triggered global panic as they made no effort to hide their presence. Governments worldwide scrambled to respond. Military forces mobilized, and civilians either fled major cities or resigned themselves to whatever might come. Fleet Commander Zex Terrell's message was broadcast to every communication device on Earth. "People of Earth, your planet is now under the protection and authority of the Varaxian hegemony. Surrender your governing bodies and disarm your military forces. Resistance will result in selective orbital bombardment of major population centers. You have 24 Earth hours to comply." In the Antarctic base, Catherine listened to the ultimatum with calm determination. The ancient ship, which they had code-named Behemoth, was as ready as it would ever be. "Status report," she demanded, striding into the command center where her team monitored the activation sequence. "Power systems at 62% and climbing," Aiden reported. "Navigation and life support are online. Weapon systems are, well, we think they're weapon systems, are showing activity, but we can't control them yet." Catherine nodded and approached the command chair. "Then it's time." General Wells caught her arm. "Catherine, we don't know what this will do to you. The neural interface could kill you." She gave him a small smile. "If I die, Marcus, you make sure this ship gets off the ground. Find someone else to sit in this chair. We have 8 billion lives counting on us." The integration chamber had been cleared of all personnel. As Catherine settled into the command chair, it adjusted to her form, alien materials flowing like liquid before solidifying again. Neural probes extended from the headrest, hovering near her temples. "Beginning neural synchronization." Aiden's voice came through the speakers. "Director, if it becomes too painful, just do it," she commanded. The probes touched her skin, and Catherine's world exploded into light and sensation. Her consciousness expanded beyond her body, beyond human comprehension. She felt the ship, every circuit, every power conduit, every weapon system. More than that, she felt its history, fragments of memory from a civilization so advanced that their technology seemed like magic, and she understood what Behemoth truly was, not just a warship, but a sentinel. A guardian left behind by a race that had ascended beyond physical form, leaving behind watchers to protect developing worlds from precisely the kind of threat the Varaxians represented. Through waves of pain and revelation, Catherine managed 3 words that would change humanity's destiny. Initiate launch sequence. The Antarctic ice cracked and shattered as the massive ship rose for the first time in untold millennia. Across the planet, humans stared in disbelief at news footage of the colossal vessel ascending into the sky, its hull gleaming with awakened power. Hope and fear mingled in equal measure. Was this humanity's salvation, or merely another alien threat? Aboard the Varaxian command ship, alarms blared as sensors detected the rising behemoth. Fleet Commander Zex Terrell leaped from his relaxed posture, mandibles clicking in agitation. "What is that?" he demanded, staring at the holographic display showing the massive vessel emerging from Earth's southern polar region. His tactical officer's voice trembled. "Unknown ship type, Commander. It's emitting energy signatures that our systems can't even classify. The power readings are off the scale." For the first time in his long career of conquest, Zex Terrell felt a flutter of genuine fear. "Impossible. These humans are primitives. They can't possibly." "Sir," his communications officer interrupted, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth." The holographic display shifted to show Catherine Chen's face. Though she remained physically in the command chair deep within Behemoth, her consciousness projected through the ship's systems. Her eyes glowed with the same energy that now coursed through the ancient vessel. "Varaxian fleet," she spoke, her voice overlaid with harmonics that made the alien crew flinch. "This world is protected. You will withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Zexteral's fear quickly transformed into outrage. How dare you address me in such a manner? Your pitiful planet will burn for this insolence. All ships target their vessel and fire. As the Varaxian battle fleet unleashed its full firepower against Behemoth, Catherine smiled. She knew what was coming. The tide turns. The combined firepower of 30 Varaxian warships, enough energy to shatter a small moon, converged on Behemoth. For a breathless moment, Earth's defenders watched in horror as the ancient vessel disappeared in a blinding flash of destructive energy. When the light faded, Behemoth remained utterly unscathed, surrounded by a shimmering field that had absorbed the attack completely. Inside the neural interface, Catherine felt the ship's response. Not anger, but something akin to disappointment, as if it had hoped for better from the Varaxians. Through her consciousness, Behemoth spoke directly to the alien fleet. Your weapons are ineffective. Your technology is known to us. Final warning. Depart this system or be neutralized. Aboard the Varaxian command ship, panic replaced confidence. Zexteral's exoskeleton had lost its sheen, dulling with stress hormones as he processed the impossible situation before him. What are we facing? He demanded of his science officer. How can they possess this technology? Sir, the officer replied, voice trembling. The energy signatures, they matched the legends. The guardian vessels of the precursors. A hush fell over the command deck. Every spacefaring civilization knew the myths of an ancient race that had seeded the galaxy with life, then vanished, leaving behind sentinel vessels to watch over their creations until they were ready to join the galactic community. But they were just that, myths, bedtime stories told to younglings. Impossible, Zexteral whispered, but without conviction. His tactical officer interrupted the stunned silence. Sir, they're targeting our weapon systems. Behemoth hadn't fired a single shot, yet every weapon on every Varaxian vessel simultaneously powered down. Not destroyed, simply rendered inert, as if the ancient ship had reached out with an invisible hand and gently flipped them off. Catherine, her consciousness entwined with Behemoth's systems, watched with a mixture of awe and satisfaction. The ship wasn't designed for destruction. Its purpose was preservation, protection, and when necessary, neutralization of threats. Varaxian Command, she broadcast. Your fleet has been disarmed. The choice remains, retreat, or we will be forced to take more permanent measures. On the Varaxian flagship, Sub-Commander Vril approached her superior. Commander, we should withdraw. If that truly is a guardian vessel. Silence. Zexteral hissed, his pride overwhelmed by fear and rage. This cannot be happening. These humans are savages. They eat animal flesh and still burn fossil fuels. They cannot possess the technology of the precursors. In that moment of desperation, Zexteral made a fatal error. Activate the singularity drive. We will tear their precious planet apart with a gravity well. Vril's antennae flattened against her head in horror. Sir, that would violate every protocol of civilized warfare. The Hegemony Council ruled. The Council will applaud our victory. Zexteral snapped. Do it now. Within Behemoth's neural interface, Catherine felt the surge of dangerous energy as the Varaxian flagship prepared to create an artificial black hole. The ship's consciousness responded immediately, flooding her mind with knowledge and capabilities beyond human comprehension. They're attempting to create a singularity, she reported to the command team on Earth. Behemoth says. It says not to worry. Before the Varaxian weapon could fully power up, Behemoth released a pulse of energy that rippled through spacetime itself. The fabric of reality seemed to bend around the alien fleet, and when it settled, every Varaxian ship was encased in a shimmering field of energy, frozen in time. Catherine felt Behemoth's satisfaction. The ship had enacted a temporal stasis field, an ability so advanced it bordered on the magical. The Varaxians weren't harmed. They weren't even aware that anything had happened. For them, time had simply stopped. What just happened? General Wells demanded, staring at the monitors showing the motionless alien fleet. Catherine's voice came through the communication system, tinged with wonder. "They're in stasis. Behemoth has paused them. And now it wants to show me something. Show all of humanity something." A pulse of energy emanated from Behemoth, not destructive but informative. Every communication device on Earth, televisions, phones, computers, received the same transmission. A history lesson written in the stars. Humans around the world watched in awe as they learned the truth. Earth wasn't just another developing world. It was special, one of 9 cradle worlds, seeded by the precursors before their ascension. Each cradle world was left with a guardian vessel, buried deep, and programmed to awaken only when its protected civilization faced an existential threat they couldn't overcome alone. But there was more. The precursors hadn't just left the ships as protectors. They were teachers, meant to guide humanity to its next evolutionary step. Behemoth wasn't just a defensive system. It was humanity's inheritance, a key to the stars and to technologies beyond imagination. As this knowledge flooded through human consciousness, Catherine made a decision. Using Behemoth's communications array, she opened a direct line to the stasis field containing the Varaxian command ship and selectively reactivated Zex Turl's consciousness. The fleet commander found himself in a strange void. His body still on his ship, but his mind elsewhere. Before him stood Catherine Chen, or rather, a projection of her consciousness. "What have you done to me?" he demanded, mandibles clicking in fear. "Open to dialogue," Catherine replied calmly. "Your fleet is in temporal stasis. No harm has come to them, but they cannot move or act until we release them." "Impossible technology," Zex Turl muttered. "The humans couldn't have developed this." "We didn't," Catherine acknowledged. "But we are its rightful inheritors. Your invasion has awakened not just an ancient defense system, but humanity's awareness of our place in the galaxy." She gestured, and the void around them filled with stars. A map of the galaxy highlighting the 9 cradle worlds, each protected by its own guardian vessel. The precursors chose us, just as they chose 8 other species across the galaxy. Not to conquer, not to destroy, but to explore and create. That is humanity's destiny. Zex Turl's anger drained away, replaced by dawning comprehension. "The legends, they're true. You're a Nexus species." Catherine nodded. "And now we have a choice to make. We can release your fleet and send you home with a warning never to return. Or, Zex Turl asked, his voice small. "Or we can begin something new." The precursors intended the cradle worlds to find each other, to build something greater than conquest and subjugation. "Your people have lost their way, Zex Turl. Perhaps it's time for the Varaxian hegemony to remember there are alternatives to conquest." In the days that followed, Earth transformed. The activation of Behemoth had triggered changes in human society that would have taken centuries to evolve naturally. Global conflicts ceased as humanity united under the realization that they were part of something greater. Catherine Chen, still connected to Behemoth though no longer bound to the command chair, led negotiations with the Varaxian hegemony that resulted in the First Galactic Concord, a non-aggression pact that would eventually grow into a mutual defense and cultural exchange program. Under Behemoth's guidance, human scientists took their first steps toward truly understanding the advanced technologies at their disposal. The first human faster-than-light vessel launched within a year, a smaller ship grown from Behemoth's own systems. As for the Varaxians, the revelation that Earth was a Nexus species world sent shockwaves through their empire. Zex Turl, once a champion of conquest, became the unlikely advocate for reform, arguing that the hegemony had strayed from a more noble path. 5 years after the day the aliens had laughed at just another dirt planet, humanity had established outposts on 3 nearby star systems and made contact with 2 other cradle world civilizations. Earth, once insignificant in the cosmic order, had become a beacon of innovation and diplomacy. Catherine Chen, standing on the observation deck of humanity's first space station beyond the solar system, watched the stars with new eyes. Beside her, the holographic interface of Behemoth, which had taken the form of an elderly human sage, contemplated the same view. "They used to mock us," Catherine said quietly. "Called us primitives, a dirt planet with delusions of grandeur." The hologram smiled. "Pride before enlightenment is common among younger species. Even the precursors were not immune in their early days." "And now?" "Now," the ship's consciousness replied, "the galaxy watches Earth with wonder, and perhaps a little fear. You have awakened, Catherine Chen, and through you, humanity has awakened. The real journey is just beginning." As if to emphasize the point, an alert chimed softly. A new signal, from the furthest cradle world yet detected. Another civilization reaching out across the stars. Catherine smiled. "Then let's answer the call."